Well, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this spec, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Vicious trolls that populate the numerous jungle isles of the South Seas are renowned for their cruelty and dark mysticism.
Project... Oh, my user interface. Alright. /BT for bartender. Copy from Erev Sven, because he's a good guy. Where is he? There's two Erev Svens. There he is. Okay. And then key bindings, we're going to make sure they're character specific in case we need to change anything. Chat window. Lock. Create new window. Peace. Peace be with you. Here we are. We'll go... There it is. I'll make one more window. Solo ampersand role play. And that'll be for... we'll leave Whisper up there, that's fine. There. Yeah. We'll leave those on there too, because that's roleplay stuff. Okay, solo and roleplay. And I will also make the opacity on this pretty much nothing. We're not going to use energy and rage. So, normally... Oh, what the heck, let's just do it. So you guys can see what a... just how people say anal, but I don't want to call myself anal. Obsessive compulsive, maybe. I just can't stand that ketchup and mustard look to it, so we'll just throw this down here. Now, mini map, close that, we don't need that for the moment. And this thing is the bane of my user interface, but you can't get rid of it and still keep your proper menus. So let's grab the quest to choose your primary stat.
Strength.
Yeah. Hey, get off of there. That's terrible. Don't torture your character like that. I hate that. Alright. So, to choose your primary stat, hit N. Click character advancement. I'm going to choose intellect. As I often do. You see my mana go up there. That's fantastic. And then I am going to take, for my spells, we're going to take Wrath. We're going to take Earth Shock. Very nature. We're going to take Healing Touch. And then I got to Alt Tab because I don't remember what I was going to take. Oh, Sprint. Got it. We're going to take Sprint. We can take that right away, right? Yeah, Sprint. That spends all 9 of my ability essences, so I started with 9. You get more at level 10 along with talent essences. Fantastic. Happy about it. Let's turn in the quest. Excellent. Let's take the staff for the 10% spell haste that all staffs have on them. We also get a bag. See what we got for our staff. Oh, it's almost good. We took Wrath and we got Taunting Wrath. So we're gonna... it kind of sucks. But Spirit and Stamina, that's fine. It's nice when you get Spell Power. So we've got Of the Whale. It's really nice when you get Of the... of Healing, because then you get Spell Power on it. But let's equip the staff we start with. We're gonna sell a bunch of this stuff. I don't know why we've got doubles of this stuff. But, you know what? I mean, like, it's good because we can just sell it. No, it didn't used to do that, but what the hey. Get rid of ammo. We'll sell the bow, too. Because we don't need that crap. Excellent. Happy about it. Good. All this stuff can be sold. Excellent. Happy about it. Good. Just keep saying it. Be positive. We're gonna make it through this. Let's go to the general goods vendor.
How can I help?
So hopefully by the end of this video we get a good concept for Project Ascension Realms. And crap, I kind of did forget something, but we're not going to do it anyway. Hopefully we get a good idea of what Project Ascension Realms are all about, and also how I roleplay, because we've got hardcore guild standards coming up. Maybe. Okay, so this is Stony Tark. I've already gotten XP from selecting my primary stat and doing the quest for that. So because I turned that in, I can't start any of these, but let's just go over them super fast. Iron Man. It's a challenge mode. No grouping up. No mail, trading, or auctions. No profession experience. No refer a friend boosting. No dying. You got 1 life, make it count. You get a mount and some gear for it if you complete it. So the most difficult part is no auctions and no dying while you level up. Survivalist mode, very similar, except you can group up with other survivalists, and you can also trade with other survivalists. You also get a mount for that one. It's a Fell Saber. Resolute mode, this one's pretty important because we have fast leveling on these realms, but if you do Resolute mode, it brings you back to Blizzard XP rate, and then you get a bunch of gear for it. You get free gear for it when you reach level 70. Nightmare mode, probably my favorite, even though I don't do it often, because you got to min-max pretty hard for it, in my opinion. 5% increased spell damage taken from all creatures. 300% increased physical damage taken from all creatures. So you take a lot of extra damage while leveling up. You get an uncorrupted nether drake for your mount, so it's land and air mount for that one, which is very cool. So that's that. Professions. Is there anything I want to do? Train me. To begin with, might as well take cook. We might as well take first aid, and we might as well take fishing. And then I mean, what the hey? We're gonna be doing casting. Sure. Okay. I don't know about that, but it's fine. I'm gonna be leveling pretty fast, so I won't, unless I take time to do it. Unless I like take extra time out to level my stuff. It's just not gonna, I'm just not gonna be able to keep up. Oh, I mean, it's good to be able to disenchant stuff though while you're out and about, because you know, you get more bag space that way. Oops, don't want that there. Enchanting and healing stuff, put that up here, right? Sprint, we can leave sprint at 4 for now. I think that's fine. So what are we doing here today? That's Project Ascension Realms. I mean, taking skills and talents from any class. Fantastic, right? Fantastic, good. What was I saying before? Forget it. Fantastic, excellent, or something. Okay. Now that we're here, I like my user interface. So now that we're here, we're gonna look at how I roleplay, because there's a minimum standard to be in my guild, and it's based on action rather than all talk. So if you go on to Role Playing Realms, what you're going to find very quickly is that there's a cool add-on where people get to make their backstory, and then you can look at other people's backstory, stuff like that. And then people will be role-playing by, you know, talking and chat and whatnot according to their characters, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The problem with that is that it's all talk. It's all talk. Don't you think, man? It's all talk. Yeah, it's all talk. Okay? making a backstory about stuff you didn't do and things that never happened is all talk, and acting out your character is all talk. So we're going to be doing a role-playing guild, if anyone joins me for this, that is action-based. Alright, so you already probably know that there is a Trinity system in the game, and the Trinity system is a role-playing system where you play your role as, you know, tank. There's bear form, tank, healer, right, or DPS, right? So tank, healer, DPS is the Trinity system, and that's the role you play for role-playing to start with, and even people on normal realms and PvP realms know about this. But today we're going to be exploring the duality system. And the duality system is where you start right from the very beginning, and you need to decide whether you're going to be an aggressor or a defender. Okay? So an aggressor, like this red name creature, will attack anything that gets within range with it, and a defender, a lot of people think this is a passive creature, but if you look at Hunter's Pets and compare it to that, this is actually a defensive creature, because it will defend itself if you attack it, right? Whereas a Hunter's Pet, if you set it on passive mode, it won't even defend itself. So this is the big one, guys. Everyone who's ever played this game has been programmable by Blizzard to play aggressively, okay, like this thing. So this thing has no choice as to how it plays. This thing has no choice as to how it plays or behaves. And you, the player, oh jeez, it's embarrassing. You, the player, also had no choice as to how you played. You played aggressively. All of you, everyone, even me, we all did. But you always had a choice. We always had a choice. So it's kind of a CAPTCHA, and it's the minimum standard for my guild that you have to solve this CAPTCHA and prove that you can switch from aggressive to defensive. Okay, so that's the first step at exploring the duality system to further expand your role playing in this MMO RPG. So we're going to do that now. I have no idea how this spec is going to work because I've never done this. Okay. This is a brand new spec for me. Oh shoot, I'm not even ready here. I need my auto attack, and I'm gonna have to heal a lot. I didn't set up my action bars completely. Yeah, because I'm starting with a level 6 here, so it's there we go. We hit him. It's good. We might just survive this. I wasn't as ready as I thought. Let's let the mana come back up a little bit. In there. Right. I won't have to sprint on out of here, guys. we're slowly but surely breaking them down. There it is. Level 2, which is really strange because usually you reach level 3 on the first creature, but if he was level 5 I would have reached level 3, but he was too far away from my level. Okay, action bars before we continue. Oh, look at this. Project Ascension Realms. Criminal intent. Declares your intent to commit a criminal act, allowing you to attack your own faction. This lowers your reputation with your faction. There's a lot to it. Let's skip over that. It's really cool, but at the end of the day, we got a lot of content to cover here probably, and we don't want to make the video too long. Auto attack. Here we are. That's what I needed on my bars from the beginning, along with berserking. That's good. I'm glad we have berserking there now. We don't have. This is really strange, but we don't really have a lot of buffs that we're gonna pick up. So, gosh, I really want to be able to see that and remember to do it. Maybe for now. Should we make it a shift 4? Is that stupid to make it a shift 4? Why do you keep stretching, buddy? You want me to click into you? I don't know. Okay, so let's get going here. As you can see, playing according to the rules of the defensive code as a defender is a little bit harder, but ultimately, once you learn to roleplay, you will find it more rewarding. Okay? You'll find it more rewarding. So, the defensive code is based on chivalry. It's an act of chivalry, which, you know, chivalry is something that heroes do, okay? So, heroes care about chivalry. And, so, even though it's a little harder, it gives you the right to say you're playing on heroic mode. Alright? It's a role-playing standard. So, even though you might notice right away that there's a hypocrisy to it, because you already know that I'm going to kill this scorpion over here, right? So the idea that I'm walking up to it, acting like I'm a defender, you know, like, oh, officer, 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 he attacked me and I defended myself. No, because you know I plan on killing this scorpion, right? So there's a hypocrisy to that if you try to portray it as a morality. But as an act of chivalry, you walk up to it, and if you weren't role-playing, you might say, look, I've been playing this game for almost 15 years. You take the first swing at me, and I'll take the first hit from you. Okay? It's an act of chivalry, which is what makes it heroic. If you compare it to heroic dungeons from the Burning Crusade onward, heroic dungeons were harder and more rewarding, just like this, but they were also based on chivalry. Okay, so the reason those dungeons are heroic is because you are taking a handicap to the enemies in the dungeon. Okay, so you take a handicap to the enemies, and that's an act of chivalry, which is what makes it heroic. So these are the new role-playing standards that no one else but me plays by so far, because for 15 years role players were just all talk, and I've been working for a couple years on remedying that problem, because, you know, like, all these years you might have been thinking, like, gee, you know, like, I'd really like to get into role-playing, but I'm not sure if I could, and more specifically, I don't know if I could get my friends into it, because it's kind of weird, you know, you just, like, it's kind of all talk. Not anymore, guys. Not anymore. And this is just the first step. Okay, stepping into the light trinity is the first step. So like I already said, you have the Trinity system, and what we're doing is we're adding to that the duality system. And once you learn the first step of the duality system and you step into the light trinity, out from the dark trinity that everyone starts in, that's when you start to learn more about the game. And it's important because our guilds in the past, you know, we made a lot of mistakes that we didn't know about, for one thing. And a lot of them are pretty funny when you look back on them once you learn this. But we also had a lore master. Okay, we had a fantastic lore master. His name was Nick, and he knew a lot about the lore in the game, and we completely wasted his abilities, his talents, his role in our guild. And it's an important thing to be able to take advantage of that, because his skills were very valuable. Now, strangely enough, I never consciously knew it, but I always had a bunch of regrets about the game and how we played, because deep down I always felt like I was a game master for role-playing, and I kind of understood things on this level, but I never got to play according to that because we never role-played. Now, fantastically enough, we also have need for the other roles that were getting fulfilled. We had a guild leader / raid leader, and he was the best at what he did. And one of the important things about his role is that he was also charismatic in his ability to recruit, and he played good cop. And that's one of the things that gave value to our Reaper. So our good cop, our raid leader, recruiter type, guild leader, he would recruit people, and then when people were not living up to standards, he would take them aside and say, like, hey, you know, if we had a paladin that didn't know he had a taunt, he would take them aside and be like, look, bud, we can help you out here with your you know, whatever you need, I'll help you out, and we'll get this working for you. And then our bad cop, our Reaper, that would be Ben, he would be bad cop when we needed someone to say, like, I'm gonna kick you out of the fucking guild because you fucking suck, right? I mean, like, maybe nowadays you don't want to drop the F-bomb because everybody's got kids except me, but that's an important role, and that's still very much needed in a role-playing guild. I'm gonna let him run because he's weak, right? He's a chicken shit. Look, pal, I gave you a chance and you blew it. I gave you a chance and you blew it. You had one chance to live with me. Okay. Now, you may have noticed that I let that guy run, and maybe I'm going to let all these guys run unless I get into a lot of trouble. That is not a requirement. That is a specific thing to this character. Okay? It's something that I'm on the spot deciding that that's who I am. Okay? That's who this guy is. I'm going to let these guys run. And that is something that's based on chivalry that will increase your guild rank in my guild. Alright, so minimum standard is to switch from playing as an aggressor to a defender, to play according to the rules of the defensive code, and then everything else you do can only increase your guild rank. Alright, so I'm going to let these guys run whenever they run, to the best of my ability, anyway. And that will increase my guild rank, because it's an act of chivalry. It's a heroic thing to do. Now, there are other ways to increase your guild rank, and again, this is based on action. This is not all talk. There are other things you can do to increase your guild rank. Since I get free resets before level 10, I'm going to remove sprint for just a moment and talk about warriors. So let's go in here and let's get rid of you dummy, you know where sprint comes from. Okay, let's unlearn this for a moment. It costs 3 ability essences on Project Ascension Realms, so now I have 3 again. And charge could take 3 ability essences. Now, this has been in this way since the beginning of the game, although it's very difficult in Classic with spell batching. But here, it's much easier to use charge according to the defensive code, and you've always been able to use charge according to the defensive code. It's always been possible to disengage your auto attack while you charge. Now, it's a bit hypocritical. It's a loophole to incite violence but I allow it in most cases. If you're using it just to attack plane striders, to do a plane strider quest, I'm not gonna, like, I'm just gonna say fuck you, you're out of the guild. But because that's just a little too hypocritical. But where are we? Oh, okay. So, but with these aggressive mobs, I'll tend to allow it if they've, especially like if you've already been getting attacked by them, and it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna charge in there and build up some rage. So you have a talent called Incite. I don't remember if that started in the Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King, or if it's been there since Classic, because I'm not, you know, I don't really main a warrior typically, but you do have the role-playing ability to incite violence in my guild if you're a warrior. So I'll show you how this is done. I'm just going to hit 3 and then I'm going to hit Alt 1 while I'm charging, and that's going to disengage my auto attack. So here we go. See that? Now he hit me first still, and that's why I allow that as a loophole. So that'll build you up your rage. You can still use that ability as a warrior, but it requires more skill to play on heroic mode. You gotta, to play as a hero on heroic mode, you gotta bring your A game. It's not, you know, it's not that hard. It's just it's just a little extra. It requires people to be a little better at the game than a normal Realms player. So you gotta switch from normal Realms to heroic Realms. Well, role-playing Realms, but with me and my guild, it's heroic Realms. Let's get rid of this. Go back to sprint, just in case I need it for something. Get rid of that, and then here we go. So now, as a warrior, I'll explain role-playing as a warrior. It's very simple. Warriors are very simple. You have the right to protect yourself and your friends. Okay? That's what playing according to the defensive code means, is that you have the right to protect yourself and your friends. You also have the right to bear arms in your arms tree. Okay? Your right to bear arms is specifically to protect your, to protect yourself and your friends. You also have freedom of emotion. So if you are, if you're unleashing a lot of fury, I'm not going to regulate that. I'm not going to tell you you can't get mad and be enraged. You also have freedom of speech. Okay? You do have freedom of speech. Another loophole. So this is speech that boosts the morale of your, of yourself and your party members, I guess. But there is a loophole to freedom of speech that you can use offensive speech. I do allow this in some cases, all right? Because you do have freedom of speech. We can discuss, if we have both conservatives and liberals in the guild, we can discuss and talk about, when offensive speech is acceptable. Because there are cases where if you walk up to this, let's say this boar, and use demoralizing shout, he'll attack you, and then you can be like, what? Freedom of speech, brah, right? You could do that, okay? And you can do that, but we want to eliminate most cases of hypocrisy in this particular, for the game. In real life, I think you can just tell someone that they're a freaking pussy or something, and they shouldn't necessarily be able to attack you for that. But in this case, they will attack you for that. And the type of loophole I would allow for that is for a quest. An example would be for shamans in Classic WoW. Here's a good example. Shamans in Classic WoW can't just get their they can't just go and get their Mana Spring totem from their trainer. In Classic WoW, they need to do a quest chain to get their Mana Spring totem. And the final part of that quest chain involves killing a water elemental and killing that water elemental requires you to violate the defensive code because it's a yellow name water elemental. But there are two reasons why I'll allow it. One, obviously you need your mana spring totem, we know that. But two, that water elemental is going to thank you at the end of the quest for cleansing it, because the quest is about cleansing that water elemental. So if you happen to know that that you're doing like a good deed and it's an important quest, there are cases where as a shaman in Classic WoW, you might say, hey, I need a warrior or a priest to come help me kill this water elemental and cleanse it. I also get a mana spring totem for doing that. So will any warrior or priest come and help me out? Because again, a priest does have... priests do have a way to not hit something first and use freedom of speech to get a yellow name to attack you. So there's a whole new game that you have to learn when you start playing according to the defensive code. And there are all kinds of things that you can, like, it really is like a CAPTCHA to prove you're not a bot, because once you can control your behavior within the game, you can start playing according to what spells are and what they mean, rather than just looking at math without reading the word problem first. So again, for warriors, like I said, you've got the right to protect yourself and your friends, you got the right to bear arms, you got freedom of speech and emotion, and generally speaking, you also need to watch out for things that aren't right, such as cruel and unusual punishment. So cruel and unusual punishment, this is not heroic. Now, if you want to put your talent points into this, you can, but it'll reduce your guild rank with me if I find out about it. What I really want to see is people playing on heroic mode. I want people... This is the fast, easy way. I want to see people... I want to see heroes putting their talents into improved heroic strike. Okay? I want you to set the game to heroic mode. It's going to be a little harder if you put your talents into this than this. But it's more heroic that way. Now you might notice I mentioned the fast, easy way, and if you play on Project Ascension Realms with me, it's fast and easy anyway, so it's not that hard to play according to heroic standards. I don't know if I'm going to finish this quest, but... So obviously we're already going fast and easy unless we set the game to resolute mode. But it is faster and easier typically if you follow the path of least resistance, which often gets you taking evil talents. And that's my next point, that World of Warcraft is the best game that's ever been made. And especially the RPG element of the MMORPG is the best RPG MMORPG ever made. Because if you compare to something like Star Wars The Old Republic, which has wonderful cutscenes, those cutscenes are all talk. That's the unfortunate part, because if you roll a Jedi, you're not required to be any more patient than a Sith. Okay? You're going to level just as fast as a Sith as a Jedi. A Sith should level slower and... or a Sith should level faster and easier than a Jedi, but then maybe towards the end of it not be as rewarding, whereas a Jedi should require more patience, but then maybe be ultimately more rewarding towards the end of it, and then when you get to max level a little bit. But unfortunately, they did not do that in that game. In World of Warcraft, if you start selecting your talents and abilities according to the Light Trinity instead of the Dark Trinity, you're gonna, like, if you try to be like more like a Jedi than a Sith, oh, it's gonna be a little bit harder. It's gonna be more heroic. And that's what makes World of Warcraft such a great game. Because the duality system has always been in the game. It's just that nobody's had enough free will to participate in it. And the way you do that is you start playing as a defender. And once you start playing as a defender, it opens all of that up to you. Because now you're role-playing. Now you're role-playing. You're not just all talk. So now, we could talk more about things like the fact that I'm letting these creatures run. Because there are other things you can do like that to increase your guild rank. So let's say maybe you do want, because there's like an almost infinite amount of decisions you can make. Let's say, for example, you're playing as a priest. If you're playing as a priest, maybe you have in mind that you want to keep your spirits high as a priest. So you want to keep yourself pure. Maybe you decide never to kill a single humanoid. You make a vow, a priestly vow, to never kill humanoids. Okay? Because you believe that's kind of murder. If a humanoid attacks you, you run away. You don't try to do any quests killing humanoids. Great. Let's say you also, at the time before you made the vow, you refused to train Shadow Word Pain because it's an evil spell, right? You don't take Shadow Word Pain, but then you think, you know what? I'm going to make a vow to never kill humanoids. At this point, you're gaining some really high guild rank with me, and I'm very likely to take you on a raid because we know you're heroic. And suddenly it hits you. You realize you've got a problem because at the very beginning of the game, you took tailoring. Oh my gosh, you took tailoring. What were you thinking? Making a vow to never kill humanoids. Well, now you need to go kill demons, don't you? Or undead. But let's say you decide that during the, I think it was the Sundering, our lore master would have to confirm this to me. During the Sundering, the Highborn Night Elves that were practicing their arcane magics, they were tricked by Sargeras, and they ended up bringing a bunch of the Burning Legion into Azeroth, and they shouldn't be here, and they're evil. So what the hey? You're gonna start killing demons for cloth. And while you're at it, maybe you're gonna make a compromise. Maybe you are gonna train Shadow Word Pain now, but you're only gonna use them on demons. You're not gonna torture small animals with it, and you're not gonna, you're not gonna torture elementals or anything else. Just demons. You're gonna use it on. And now you're role playing. Now you know your character's personality. You're role playing. And if you happen to make a character that's good enough to get high rank with me, you're going to be selected over other characters to do a raid. Okay? That's just how it's going to work. You're going to have higher guild rank. We're going to know you're competent enough to role play. And now you're going to come into a raid, and we're going to be happy to have you. Okay? That's a lot different than the way people normally roleplay. Because the way people normally roleplay is that they roleplay as normal realms players. Except for the fact that they're all talk. So now I hope nobody's mad at me for being an elitist jerk about this. But it's just... it's something very important. Being an elitist jerk that's what this game is all about, right? If you can't be an elitist jerk, there's no point in playing the game. But it's also how you learn the game too. Other people are elitist jerks, and then, by their peer pressure, you learn to get better at the game, and that's great. Like, it's one of the things that makes this game great. So now there's a way to be an elitist jerk about role-playing. It's unprecedented if you allow it to be. self-fulfilled, obviously, because if I'm still the only person on the planet that figured this out, if I'm the only defender, the only person that obtained free will within this game, rather than being like everyone else who gets funneled into the Dark Trinity as an aggressor and plays according to the path of least resistance and role plays as a normal Realms player. If I'm not the only person in the world to do this, if I find someone who's capable of being the second role player and the third role player and the fourth role player in the world, then it is unprecedented in history of World of Warcraft. Okay? Even better if one day... Did I forget to let that one run? I might have forgotten. I'm too busy talking, but... even... Wow, that one doesn't just walk away. It really runs. So it's even better if one day we all start acting like elitist jerks. Once we learn these standards and get good at them, you know, it takes like a month or two to get good at playing according to the defensive code. But once you get good at it, you can start being an elitist jerk about it and peer pressuring other people, making fun of other people. Like, you don't even know the game. You know? You don't know anything about the game. And we start doing that. You know, we start playing this game like we've been playing it, you know, for around 15 years. Like we actually know what the game is about and what we're doing. We start reading the word problem before we do the math. And then we get the answer right. Then we be an elitist jerk about it. And powerful Hammer of Wrath. See, these enchants are random on these realms. I mean, I don't know how many Hammer of Wrath enchants there are, but if you have a blue level item or better, you can actually extract them. Really? Well, let's just look at Wrath. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong section. Enchants. Hammer of Wrath. Okay? Not a lot. Let's look at Moonfire, because I know there's a lot of enchants for Moonfire. Mana cost. Critical strike damage bonus. Hit chance. Damage over time. Bonus scaling. Threat dealt. Reduced threat dealt. Critical strike chance. Dispel resistance. Overall damage. And then you've got these blue level ones that increase damage of Starfire, Moonfire, and Wrath. There's a whole bunch of them. This one has Arcane Shot afflicted by Moonfire, so increases the damage of Arcane Shot afflicted by Moonfire. So there's a lot of cross-class encouragement. Then there's the epic level ones. These get more powerful. Your Arcane Blast increases the duration of your Moonfire, so that's a mage spell, a mage arcane spell combined with Moonfire. And then you have these legendary ones that really affect how you play the game. And you can only have one legendary enchant on your gear at a time. So that stuff's really cool. Okay, so I think I've kind of covered some of the basics of role-playing. That basically you need to have guild rules from your game master that makes the game action-oriented as far as role-playing rather than all talk. Because otherwise role-playing, it's just all talk, and like most players aren't going to want to do it. But once you build a character and you know, you start exploring your character's personality, their strengths and weaknesses, because you know, at the end of the day, like I really don't want anyone creating a Mary Sue. I want you to min-max within the context of your character's personality. And you know, like some players in the guild, they might want to be a dark hero and that kind of thing, but you know, I tend to, that's gonna reduce your guild rank, okay? But once you have rules like that, it opens up role-playing other than just role-playing as a normal Realms player. And I think that's pretty important. So we gotta burn one more attack plan, and then we're gonna hit level 10. And we're gonna start looking at talents and abilities that we're gonna pick up soon. I'm guessing I'm gonna pick up regrowth at level 12, because I think that becomes available at level 12. I could be in trouble here. I don't know how many I picked up. Now, I think it would be kind of reasonable for me to kill the runner in this case, but because he's really getting me in a lot of trouble. Where's the other runner? Oh my gosh. Me, I'm the other runner. I'm the other runner. Touché. Who's the runner now? I got some mana back. This might take a while, fellas. Boy, it'd be nice to have rock biter weapon or something right about now, huh? Jeez, hit her. There it is. Let's spend just a little bit. Get rid of her. And then she's gonna move really slow, so I'm gonna regen some mana while she can't. Oh, she's hitting me with arrows. I gotta watch out for respawns too. So let's get by those attack plans just in case we get respawns. You're gonna loot during this? Unbelievable. Who do you think you are? Okay. Who do you... Oh, you got a health pot now? This is just getting ridiculous. Bring in my A game, fellas. I mean, they're not that high level, but you know, at the end of the day, I was letting them run maybe even when I shouldn't. That's just how it is. You know, game's harder, more rewarding as you become more skill oriented rather than you know, rather than going through the motions all the time. So that's kind of neat. We got a free heal here, no mana cost. We finished our quest. Great, fantastic, wonderful. I'm happy about that. I think that might be a good way to end the video. We're just gonna try to get out of here. Sprint is almost up, so if I pull something, I can just run away. That's good. Kind of like this spec so far. The weird thing about it is when I get to a higher level, my only other damage ability I'm going to pick up is Dragon's Breath from the Mage Fire Tree, because I'm trying to make a Dragon Subduing Palms So basically nature, wind, and dragons. I'm also going to pick up Unending Breath from the Warlock demonic tree. So my chi is just unending. It's a little complicated, but like I said, like I'm really looking at how the magic works. What spells are called, what they mean, what kind of magic they are. I'm usually looking at, you know, holy spells, fire spells. These are yang spells. They're hot. They'll make you hot. Frost spells, nature spells. These are yin. But fire spells can burn nature spells, so you're not going to be more overall. I mean, like, not everybody has to learn this. These are just things that I work with. What do you think, bracers or cloak? Which one looks cool? Hey! I'll take the bracers. I think I'm more likely to pick up a cloak while questing, right?
How you doing?
Seasoned fighter's cloak. Yeah, I'm a seasoned fighter. Well, I don't know about that. It's I'm only level 9. I'm gonna take the bracers. It's more. Whatever. I'll take the bracers. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So now we got a bunch of new spells that become available. From multiple classes on Project Ascension Realms. And they're just kind of tiers. There are tiers for, you know, spells when they become available. Psychic Scream. Not taking that this time, but I often take that on some of my builds. We're actually going to be doing Wind Fury Weapon, even though Flame Tongue Weapon will increase our spell power. I'm actually going to take Wind Fury Weapon later on, because I'm going to take as many wind abilities as I can, because like even Earth Shock, it's an earth ability, but you're basically throwing wind and leaves at people using the power of the earth. So you're basically drawing on the gravitational power in the earth to gather up wind and leaves, which is very much like Dragon Subduing Palms from Legend of Condor Heroes. So that's kind of, it's a themed build, guys. I don't expect you to know about, you know, what I'm talking about for the theme, but okay. Now, I have 2 ability essences because I actually hit level 11 when I turned that in. And I have 2 talent essences. I think for talents, I think it's pretty obvious. I just want to reduce the cast time of my Wrath. And then we've got a lot of really good early tier talents for Earth Shock as well that we can go with, but so I have to wait till level 12 to pick up oh geez, I need to be level 20 for Water Shield. We are going to pick up Water Shield because water and nature, we're going to have a lot of nature abilities and we're going to have a lot of nature talents. I'm going to be perfect, basically. I'm going to be so perfect with natural perfection. And water feeds nature, so that's fine. How long have I been recording? 55 minutes? This is a long video. So I don't want it to go over an hour. Are there any abilities I'm going to pick up now? You know what? I need 2 ability essences to pick up Regrowth at level 12. So I'm going to spend my 1 on Conjure Water, because I am going to want Conjure Water. And then I am going to eventually, I'm also going to pick up, I'm also going to get Portal Mastery later, because I'm going to be training from multiple classes. And unless you have there's a non-combat pet that allows you, it's called Book of Ascension. It's just a book that follows you around and you can train all of your spells anywhere. And if you find someone else with it, you can train off of theirs, but generally speaking, you know, if you need to go to multiple places to train, to level up your abilities, because you still need to level them up, Portal Mastery is really convenient, and I am going to be using a few arcane abilities like Blink, and I'm going to have some arcane talents like Mind Mastery and alacrity for haste, things like that. So the only thing I didn't get to was my user interface. I really wanted to talk about how it's designed to be like plugging into a mech suit. So like my character is, it's like the user interface is the fourth wall between the 3D game world and the 3D real world. And I basically have a dimensional philosophy for conjoining the two. And you know, I built my user interface. I mostly built this during Classic WoW, but this is based on a similar design. And it's really based on the idea of immersion and functionality and all of that combined. And I prioritize good movement skill nowadays because I think it's embarrassing to clip with other players and NPCs. I really prioritize the walk run button. I bind my walk run button to W. Okay? So this is how I do it. Before we end the video, I use for my mouse, I use a Corsair Scimitar Pro. This is an MMO mouse with the buttons 1 through 12 on the side. And once you get good at using those, very convenient to shift click, alt click those buttons without ever having to reach for your number buttons. So now my left and right, my ring finger and left pointer finger are both on my A and D keys. So I have A and D instead of left and right turn. Even regular min-maxers do this. I have A and D rebound to left and right strafe, because that'll improve your movement skills. And then I have W rebound to walk run. So whenever I approach a quest giver, for example, I typically slow down before I stop. And then I speed up before I continue running again. And that it smooths things out. And it also helps with things like parkour if you want to jump on top of something. Like you jump and then hit W, and then you don't like overshoot it by running off the edge of it. There are just so many things that helps. And then I have my Q key bound to auto run. So I'm going to edit a little out so I can finish this. But so Q key is bound to auto run, and then basically I always do my best to align my mouse to the exact center of my reticle position. And you guys, I can probably make my user interface downloadable pretty easily. I'm pretty sure I know how to do that now. And the reticle is at a specific point in the user interface, calculated by the geometry that the user interface is built based off of. And then the rest of the user interface is built around that, with that as the focal point. And with that as the focal point, by clicking your mouse there, you're aligning your hand and eye coordination. And that's how we work on getting good movement and not clipping with other players and NPCs, and even dodging other players in major cities where you don't let them clip with you. It's kind of a fun game, not letting them clip with you ever. And that's that. So I'm gonna call it quits here. This isn't an inn, but I'm just gonna park it here anyway because there's bags to rest on, and then that'll do it. I hope you watched. I hope you listened. I might try to put some of it in print.
Smell you later.